Hi, I'm going to be talking about personal injury cases on chiropractic rehabilitation. I'm trying to stabilize this silly camera. Okay, there we go. And so basically, every time somebody gets involved in the personal injury cases and they get injured, whether it's whiplash, head-on collision, or T-bone collision, most everybody gets injured, even if it's a small 5-mile-an-hour collision. And many people have been getting care, but not specifically chiropractic care. They've been going to Kaiser or any other hospital first, like an emergency visit, just to make sure that no bone is broken and no life-threatening conditions are found. Jessica, Blair, thanks for joining. And so basically the first thing they do is that basically whatever insurance they have, they go and they go check themselves out. And many times people care more about their cars than they care about themselves, because they have this adrenaline rush and they're pretty much do not feel any pain. So they go check this out. Nikki 5, thanks for joining. And so basically, once they go to a hospital, they check themselves out. Nothing really, no care is being done over there anyway. Basically, the medical doctors, they do X-rays or MRI, whatever is necessary, and then they just give them the. I'll talk about the rheumatoid and rheumatoid. I'll talk about it in a little bit, but let me just finish with this personal injury thing. So basically, next day or two, they start feeling this pain. So what happens when you have an injury? The soft tissue, it has basically, this is ligaments, tendons, and muscles. This is their normal fibers. So when they have an injury, they tear up, and when they tear up, naturally they're trying to heal back, and they heal back instead of the same way like this, they heal back like this, and they create these trigger points that they call knots. What happens if this is not rehabilitated properly? These knots or trigger points, they start growing like mushrooms. As a result, as they get larger, on a microscopic level, of course, as they get larger, their pain level is exponentially increasing, and at some point the drugs stop working. So that's when they start calling, this is when the patients start looking for alternative care besides taking drugs and some other things that they've been using. So I get a lot of phone calls from internet, people searching for valuable information on the internet. So they found me on Google, on my blog, and on my Yelp listing. And so when they come in, the first thing they do is say, "Doc, I have this ridiculous amount of pain. What do I do? Is the insurance going to cover?" And most people don't even know that most of these personal injury cases, the third party, which is if it was their fault, they will cover 100% the medical bill, and most of the patients are still allowed to have some settlement for pain and suffering. Even if it's your fault, many times your own policy will have a coverage that's called medical payments, and sometimes it's 1,000, sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's 10,000. I even had one patient recently, she had 25,000 on her AAA. So that will cover all the medical expenses. It doesn't mean that 25,000 has to be spent on chiropractic care, but she was driving on the freeway, and the 18-wheeler truck, one of the spare wheels fell on the freeway and basically almost cut her car in half. And so she had a significant injury, so she went to get MRI, she went to emergencies, she went to she was taken to a hospital by an ambulance. So just before coming to me, her bills were like almost $10,000. And so thankfully she had this medical payments that covers it up. So every time patient comes in, basically I explain it to them. Sometimes an insurance company will give runaround, so if they want, they will hire an attorney, and the attorney will explain them the legal aspect of this process. So when they come in, I do an examination. They fill out around 5-6 pages report about what happened. Then I do an examination, and then when they come in, we provide the physical therapy, which includes electric stimulation, heat, ultrasound, or called laser. One of those things that can be offered to patients that come to our clinic in Santa Ana here in San Francisco Bay Area. And so after that, I will usually give them an adjustment, a full spine, and then after the adjustment, they're going to see my massage therapist. So usually, let's assume an average case is, let's say the property damage to a vehicle is about $5,000. So the course of treatment might take between 8 to 12 weeks to get a complete rehabilitation. Unfortunately, it takes about 1 second to get injured and takes about 100 days to get healed completely. So it's really crucial that you do not wait until it gets to the point that you cannot function and you become a vegetable. Make sure you come in and get a proper rehabilitation. You can even, if you don't like chiropractic care, you can go see an acupuncturist or get the massage. But make sure that those soft tissues are being rehabilitated properly. Otherwise, you're gonna have some serious problems in the past. So usually, let's assume you don't have a medical payment on your insurance policy, and it wasn't your fault. Let's say you have a rear end, and there was another insurance company, another person had an insurance company. So we usually take their claim, and then after your treatment is done, it will be free of charge to you. We submit the bill to the insurance company. That's assuming you don't have a lawyer. But if you have an attorney, we send your bills to the attorney, and then the attorney will settle the case with the insurance company, and will pay the bill, pay you for pain and suffering, and after the case settles, the attorney gets his or her fee for the time spent on the case. So usually it's about between 25 to 33% depending on the attorney that you hire. I prefer to work with the small firms because there's always accessibility of reaching them on personal level, versus when there's a large firm, there's going to be like 20-30 people, so you can never reach an attorney. You're always going to be talking to a secretary. Your case is going to be running from one place to another, and nobody really going to know what's going on. So if you have personal injury problems, just give us a call if you're in San Francisco Bay Area, and we'll be able to help you. We have 7 locations throughout the Bay Area. My main office here in San Diego. This is where I'm practicing personally. So so after your case is complete, we can send everything out, and assuming your treatment was here between 2 to 3 months, then depending on insurance companies, some can settle it in 3 months, some takes 6 months, some takes 12 months. There were cases that insurance companies would drag it, and it would take like 2-3 years before they settle the case and offer some money to an injured party. Just recently, I was as an expert witness at the trial in Hayward Court, and this lady was a patient of mine. She had to have a surgery afterwards because her neck was in really bad shape. The 18-wheeler truck crashed into her car. So her settlement was about $700,000, and I was an expert witness in that case. So that was probably the biggest case that I was an expert witness in 14 years of my practice. That was pretty amazing. She was really happy, but unfortunately she's going to be disabled for the rest of her life, and so she got this big chunk of money. I would rather have a healthy neck than have $100,000 in my bank account. Anyway, this is about personal injury cases. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me right now, because somebody asked me about the rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis. I have a few minutes left. I can answer that question. If you have any question, type in about the personal injury and chiropractic care and rehabilitation. Other than that, I will go to that osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. So